Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gabbin with Gavin. I'm your host, Gavin Broniker. This week I'm sitting down with manager for the men's basketball team, Bryce Hutchins. Bryce has been a manager for the basketball team for 3 years now. Before that, he was a manager for the baseball team. So he's kind of been doing it all. We'll talk to him about his responsibilities as well as the games that he gets to play with his other managers. So, Bryce, it's nice to have you on, man.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, so you just came from practice, so this is fresh in your mind, all that stuff. So
Correct, yeah.
So just kind of talk about some of the responsibilities that you have as a manager between practices, games, stuff like that. Just kind of talk about that.
Yeah, it's everything that people think of as far as doing laundry, waters, all those kind of things that people think of. But also maybe stuff like tracking stats, especially during games, or ordering food for the team, picking up food, all that kind of stuff. Just the day-to-day, keep the program moving kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the behind-the-scenes work. Is this something that you kind of always figured that you wanted to do, go into some sort of coaching, and is that something you want to pursue later on down the road?
It is, yeah. Coming out of high school, definitely not a great athlete, but knew that I didn't want to be out of sports. Like, I always wanted to be a part of a team, and I just wasn't ready to leave that atmosphere or the game, whether it be baseball or basketball. And coaching is something that I'm interested in pursuing down the road, and getting this experience and learning from these coaches has been great.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I don't want you all to get tricked by Bryce over here. He is a great shooter, and so he uses that in the games that he has with his managers. So you guys have the BMA, the Baylorman Managers Association, and you guys play other teams around the country. You guys have played Kansas State this year, or Kansas?
Kansas, yeah.
Kansas, yeah. So that's pretty cool. You guys get to play in their arena. Can you talk about those games a little bit?
Yeah, it's really fun. Honestly, just to meet the other managers around the country and get to know some of those people is really fun. But for us to have a chance to play the games, being around basketball every day and watching it, you just kind of naturally want to play a little bit. So for us to get out there and play is really fun. And to get to see, like you said, some of these places across the country, especially when we're playing these bye games, Power 5 schools at the start of the year, is some cool places to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I've talked to you before about this. Like, whenever you guys have a new year, you kind of, to a degree, look at the managers coming in and see if they can kind of help you out on the Baylorman managers team.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
We got a freshman this year. He's the all-time assist leader at his high school in Kentucky. So we're like, bring him on.
To it, you know, for sure. Yeah. And then last year, pretty cool. You guys got the opportunity to go down to Houston and play in the managers games. Can you talk about that and sort of the process of making those games?
Yeah. So. There are a couple guys who went to Michigan State who started this whole thing called Manager Games, and they run the whole organization. So they have a rankings, some kind of formula they use to rank the teams, and they make a 64-team bracket based off of that. And the first 3 rounds, so to get to the Elite Eight, it's all based on Twitter voting, polls. Mm-hmm. If you're a 1 seed, you don't have to get as much of the vote to move on, that kind of thing. And once you get to the Elite Eight, those 8 teams go to the Final Four location and play it out, real basketball games. So that's how you get there. And then getting there was we were really thankful to get that opportunity. A lot of people, we did a lot of work reaching out to people across the community of Louisville to try and help us out, get those Twitter votes. Obviously, Bellarmine isn't the biggest school with the biggest fan base, but there were a lot of people who were very unselfish helping us out on Twitter, and we were lucky enough to get there, so it was fun.
Yeah. So then whenever you guys go to those things, like, do your parents get to come and watch the games if they want?
Our parents did not come. They could have, I guess, if they wanted to come and watch Final Four, but we were lucky enough to have a GoFundMe that pretty much paid for our trip down there. That obviously just paid for us who were playing, but that was something that we were really lucky to have.
Yeah, for sure. And then we mentioned earlier how you started off your freshman year working with the baseball team. So doing both sides of things, is there one that later down in your career that you'd probably be more likely to choose in coaching?
Yeah, I kind of switched from baseball to basketball with the idea that I'd probably try and get into basketball coaching, and that's kind of been the direction I've been moving in for the past, like you said, 3 years. So I'd say that's more likely as far as what I'm going to try and get into. But I do miss those days with the baseball team.
Yeah, for sure. And then you mentioned how like you've gotten the opportunity to learn through these coaches. A great coach like Scotty Davenport, I'm sure getting to watch him in action, coaching his team, has been very helpful for you. Have you guys had any interactions about like coaching things that might be able to help you more so down the road?
Yeah, I think our coaching staff, Coach Davenport and his son, and Coach Braden and Coach Davis, I think they're all really good about developing people, and they all are aware that me and one of the other managers wants to be a coach, and they help us out sometimes with that kind of stuff, and just really good people to learn from, really willing to teach and to talk to you and point things out to you, so it's been a really good experience.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the cool things about being a manager is you get to not only be with the team and you get to do all these behind-the-scenes things for them, but you also get to see the work that goes into it. And I think that I'm sure that for you, one of the really rewarding things is having been with that season where they won the A-Sun tournament. Can you talk about the feeling just seeing that team win that after all the work that they put in and all that you'd seen from being a manager?
Yeah, it was awesome. What a special experience. Like you said, I think it was so special because I'd seen the work that everybody had put in, coaches and players, and how much they deserved it. And to see the emotion get to be let out after it was all over was a really cool thing. I remember assistant coach Bo Braden just kind of breaking down into tears on the court afterwards, and you see how much time he puts in with, not getting to be maybe with his wife as much as someone would like in the summer. You're recruiting even in the off season, and then these scouts, they're probably watching 15 games of the other team, and it takes forever, and you put in a lot of work, and so to see, and obviously the players put in a ton of work too in the weight room and on the court and all that kind of stuff, and it just takes up a lot of time. So to watch them be rewarded for their work was really fun.
Yeah.
That locker room afterwards was really, they were all so grateful.
Oh, yeah,
It was a fun experience.
Yeah, it seemed like it, and it was fun for the students that got to go to the game. I remember, I unfortunately wasn't able to be there, but I remember like watching the guys rush the court. That was really cool to see, and it looked like a super fun time for everybody that was involved. So it was really cool to see the basketball team be able to do that.
Yeah, it was cool. What an amazing environment.
Yeah,
there were a lot of people there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you guys play at Freedom Hall, which is obviously pretty historic. It's hard to sell that place out, but you guys do get a pretty good following. Like as a manager, what is it like whenever you guys go to those games and you can see sort of the fan turnout and knowing that you're playing in such a historic arena?
Yeah, it's fun. Coach talks about the history of that place a lot. He kind of grew up in Louisville going to Freedom Hall, so I think it's something that's special to him. And to listen to him try and explain to us, I guess, younger people, the history of that place is cool. It's something that you want to appreciate, the different people who are there, whether it be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Muhammad Ali or whatever it is. It's cool to think that you're in the same place as they once were. And the fans are great. I feel like, as a small school, not having like a large fan base is true, but I also think that it's because of the small community, it's tight-knit, and the people who do follow the team, it's almost like we have a really personal connection with them, and I think the players and the people a part of the program know a lot of those people, and so it means a lot to see them show up at game after game after game at home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things. You see the same people keep showing up, and you kind of get to build a relationship with the fans more than some of these other bigger schools.
Yeah,
so
I think that's true.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier some of your roles include like laundry, getting food for the team, but you also get to have more of a role in practice too. Is that right? Like whether that's rebounding or running some drills just against the other guys. Can you talk about some of the more physical side of being a manager?
Yeah, especially like in like individual player development workouts, we'll do a lot of stuff, whether it be, like you said, rebounding or maybe playing defense against them, throwing passes to them, whatever it might be, being a dummy ball handler, just kind of, things that take just a little bit of basketball skill, I guess. We will do some of those things to help with workouts.
Yeah, for sure. So then is there a process that goes into being named a manager? Like, did you have to contact someone, do something like an interview, sit down with them? What is that process like for people that might want to be getting into it?
Yeah, for me, I was lucky to have a friend on the team who I went to high school with who kind of put in a good word for me with the staff. And after that, I kind of had a little bit of I don't know if it was an official interview, but kind of had a little bit of a interview process with the director of basketball operations, Scooter Galloway, and usually what they have you do if you're interested in being a manager is come and work camp in the summer with the little kids, and and they kind of get to know you for a couple weeks through that and see how you interact with people and the kids, and how you fit into a leadership position and all those kind of things. And that's kind of how they make a judgment and decide on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for coming on here. It's been a blast kind of getting to hear the backside of the basketball program and seeing what you guys do. You guys put in a lot of work, and I know that they appreciate it, and I know that whenever you were with the baseball team, we all appreciated it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. This has been another episode of Gabbin with Gavin. If you guys are interested in maybe being a manager, if you're an incoming student that might want to be a part of one of these programs, I'm sure that Bryce would be willing to help you guys out in helping you get into that position. Once again, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya.